Welcome to another episode of Live with Coach RT3. Today's guest, we have Chris Flo. He's out in New Jersey, and he is the owner of Flo Fitness. All right, there we go.
What's up? Oh,
Welcome to Live with Coach RT3. How you doing, man?
what's up, brother?
Nothing much, man. Just
Figuring technology
finally
out.
figuring technology out.
That's it.
Week to week, it's always an ordeal.
Yeah, man, you gotta fail forward. That's it, bro. It's just about failing forward.
Yeah,
Definitely.
man. It's been such a long time, man. For those of you who don't know like our background, I actually met Chris. What has it been like? Over a year ago now.
Yeah, it was almost
like
2 years ago.
maybe.
Yeah, 2 years out.
Yeah,
in,
almost 2 years ago.
out in the Animal Flow workshop in San Francisco.
Yeah, so just last week, for those of you who did watch last week, Venus was on, and she was calling me out for not actually testing out in my Animal Flow shirt. So I haven't sent in the test out stuff, and so yeah, big disappointment.
I think I'm gonna go back and watch all your videos and just test you out based on your content
and just scrutinize it.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely should just submit something, but I'm not a big fan of like submitting it. I'd rather like really just be there. And so one of the things I wanted to really do was actually get in front of somebody that could actually, look at me and be like, yeah, okay, I see what you're doing. And so it was always pretty, I don't know, just setting up a camera, getting set, and then going through each and every one. I was just like, man, this is just, I mean, I do videos all the time for Instagram, but
yeah.
Anyway.
No, man, we'll figure it out. We'll get you somehow, some way. We'll get it all situated.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'll actually be in New Jersey coming up in April, so maybe we can link up then.
That's perfect. We'll do it then. Yeah, just come by the studio and we'll get moving. We'll test you out and we'll do some cool stuff for social media. So it'll be dope.
Nice. So anyway, Chris Flo is the owner of Flo Fitness, right? Am I getting that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're based out in New Jersey. As I said before, we met here in San Francisco. He was my Animal Flow instructor, which was awesome. And I really got a chance to have an awesome perspective on Animal Flow as well because of Chris's background. I'll let you guys know. I'll let him explain a little bit more about his background here. So this is the opportunity right now where just tell everybody about yourself, your background, how you got to where you're at, where you started, how you got into fitness.
Man, as everyone would say, it's a long story, but just to give you a little bit of background, I started in fitness when I was 15. I started working out in my parents' basement. My dad used to make me work out as a kid, just to get drained my energy so I wouldn't annoy him. And he was, it was cool, man, because he was that one dad. I grew up in the South Bronx, so he was that one dad when he came home. He'd take all the kids in the neighborhood to ride their bikes, to play baseball and everything. So all the kids in the neighborhood, like when my dad came home, everybody knew we were going to go work out or do something to drain the energy. And so that's how just the love for movement and exercise and the passion started. Throughout high school, it was more about chasing girls and trying to look big, just lifting and oh, he got a six pack, all right. So, that fueled the fire a little bit more. Sports, obviously, I played basketball and ran cross country in high school. I don't know why I ran cross country, but played basketball as my sport. And then from there, it just turned into I didn't think it was a thing that you can go to college and do for a living. It was before social media and everyone was doing this stuff. So I was like, I got to go to college for something that makes sense. So I started going to school for athletic training. And that's why I got the background in sports medicine and learning about different injuries and how to eval injuries. And then at some point, it was I got a job. And I always had this dream about having a studio, having my own studio, having my own place. And then when I graduated college, I noticed that a lot of the athletes, I got a job in high school, and the athletes were getting injured all the time. Kids were coming in looking swole, looking jacked, and they would get injured. And then so I found a way to take my knowledge of exercise and fitness and movement and then marry it with athletic training and the injury rehab and injury prevention. And that's how Flo Fitness came about. In 2009, we started Flo Fitness. So that's pretty much in a nutshell my whole background. And then it just grew on from there, and met a ton of great people. And that's really, if I had to sit down and tell my whole story, it's really about the people I've met along the journey who've helped me get to where I'm at, I guess.
Right. So in 2009, like what, I mean, that's 10 years from 10 years ago. Like what, you were still kind of just 100% athletic training, or are you kind of doing both athletic training
I was trying to marry both. I was told by the athletic training community type, like, oh, if you do fitness, that's something different. You can't do both. And I was kind of, in a way, I wouldn't say shunned, but given the cold shoulder, like you really shouldn't do both. You should pick one or the other. Which hat do you want to wear? And I always, my whole life has been about like, I'm wearing multiple hats, man. I'm never just be one person. So what I did was, and the beauty of it was that's when TRX started popping. So I had 4 TRXs, and that's why I started my gym. I had a bunch of weights I had developed from different Christmases, birthdays, and everything. I would ask for more weights. So I had a whole gym almost in my basement as far as dumbbells and barbells and things like that. And then when TRX hit the market and I met, people from that, I'm like, yo, this thing's cool. Like I could put this up and I don't have to buy machines and nothing else. So the whole premise of the gym was it was 4 TRXs, a bench, and some weights. And then it was like, all right, showtime, let's get moving. So I think a lot of things what they don't realize is that it's not about your resources, it's about resourcefulness. And I stole that from Tony Robbins. But the point being that, like, when you don't have the resources, you don't have the money, you have to be like super creative. And that's when I started putting videos. If you go on YouTube, I got some old school, terrible videos of me moving. But that's, I had to do something while, I couldn't just sit there and wait for clients to show up. So I was like, on my spare time, let me start posting content, putting content out. And then I started getting feedback from it. And that's what fueled the whole, like, keep posting more content. My whole thing is kill them with content, and you just keep putting out. And eventually people will turn and be like, yo, this person knows what they're talking about. They're really good. But I sucked at first. So I had to suck and fail my way forward from social media, from everything, man.
Right. So when did you get, hooked up with, Mike Fitch and Animal Flow?
That's a whole crazy story. I had a friend of mine from Puerto Rico who was coming to take the cert, and I didn't know anything about the cert. And she was like, oh, this is a cool cert. So I called my friend, Doc Perry, because I know Perry had taken the course. And Perry was like, yo, Mike's legit. Like, it's a really good cert. You should definitely take it. Because I'm looking online, similar to my stuff. I'm looking at his stuff on YouTube. Mike had a bunch of stuff back there, global bodyweight training. I'm like, dude's crawling on the floor. Like, look at this dude. Like, I can do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, my ego was like, that's got to be the easiest thing ever. And my ego was telling me that. And then, so my friend came. Perry said he would talk to Mike, try to hook me up with the cert. So I show up that day with no money. I hadn't paid for it, nothing. I'm like, all right, this is crazy. Like, I'm gonna take the cert. I got no money to pay for it. So I sat in the background, and Mike and Karen are there, and they're asking, make sure everyone signed in, they paid, and I'm just looking in the background like, I hope they don't look at me. But so then the cert started, man, and Mike had us do just static beast position and limb lifts, and I volunteered to do it, and I was sweating. And my studio at the time was only about 800 square feet, so I didn't have a lot of space. So when I started seeing how effective these moves were in a small space, I was sold. And I was like, man, this is crazy. But to backtrack a little bit, and you were blessed, because when you took the level 1 and the workshop, it's what it is now. When I took it, it was level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I swear, I felt like Mike was up there just like throwing everything he had at us. Like, just, it was crazy. So so after the first day, man, my wrists were hurting, my forearms were killing me. It was a lot of content in 2 days, but in retrospect, it was awesome. It was a great experience to get to meet Mike. And then fast forward, we are where we are now as a master instructor for them, and going around the globe and doing some dope stuff, man.
Nice. Yeah, I think a lot of people want to know, those sorts of things, because, like, origin stories are something that aren't often, heard from people. People see, people at their pinnacles or at, higher up on the mountain, but it's like, well, how did they even get there, and did they just come around at the right time, or, what's the story behind it, so
Yeah, I think
I think a lot of people.
that's a strong point, man, because I think like exactly what you said. People see you where you are and assume you've always been there,
Right.
and they don't really, like you said, get to recognize what it takes to get to that level. But the other thing I realized, especially for the younger fitness professionals out there, it's always like don't compare your warm up to someone else's fourth quarter. Like they've been in the game this long, you're just getting warmed up. Like go through that process. And I think if I can give any, not that you asked, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. If I can give any young people out there advice, man, like don't rush the process, man. Go through it, because what happens, especially now, when you get to a certain level of exposure, you get exposed. And what I mean by that is if you don't have the backing, if you don't have the content, if you don't have the intelligence, if you don't have the knowledge, you're going to get to a certain part and someone's going to pull your card and you're going to be like, oh, I got nothing to back this up. I was just winging it, but I had
Right.
10 million followers. So now they're going to see that I have no idea what I'm talking about. So don't rush
Right.
that process, man. Let it, let it simmer. Let it simmer until you get to that point.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think, that's one of the things, like, you're right. As things get bigger and as you start drawing and pulling in people with, you know, intellect and background and have done research, you can't just throw anything out there and expect it to stick, like
Mm-hmm.
random anecdotal ideas and concepts that you haven't actually vetted or looked in, any research journals or anything, and you're just out there kind of being like, well, these are some cool moves. Here you go.
Yeah, and we get that a lot with Animal Flow, to be honest. When people come to the cert, they're like, oh, I thought it was just this. I've been teaching this for 2 years, and I was teaching it wrong the whole time, because it's so specific, some of the things we're looking for. And there's a reason why we need to be so specific with it, and we break things apart the way we do as a company, because we don't want people just saying like, oh, I got that cert, and throwing in trash like it's another notch on the belt. Like if you get the cert, like you said, you haven't even, haven't even tested out yet, and you're a phenomenal mover. So imagine people who like have never done these moves and come in, and one of the beauties of it is after you're done with the course, you're not certified until you test out. And other courses
Right.
I've been to, like you're done, you get the paper, you're certified, boom, and it's like you never look at the information again. Versus the way we have our test out process, it forces you to digest that information and let it sit in your subconscious mind for a while and let your body start to move the certain way and understand the movements before you're allowed to get to that point where you can call yourself an Animal Flow or certified Animal Flow coach. And that's why I fell in love with the whole program.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's from the moment I learned with you to now has been a huge journey even for myself, right? I think at the time we met, I was suffering from like some serious, I mean, I'm still, making myself, making my way through, shoulder, issues that came from bench pressing and all that sort of stuff over the years. Um, and, I think that my wrists got exposed in
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different ways. My inability to externally rotate at the shoulders, even just transitional rotation, axial rotations of the shoulder, that sort of stuff was difficult. I mean, and I had no idea how to like, I could keep doing it and keep forcing myself to do it, but it it forced me to kind of look at myself and start saying, I need to start fixing things
Mm-hmm.
so that I can do this, because animal flow is something like that I enjoy. So it's like I want to be able to like enjoy it and not be
Yeah, be in
not be in
pain.
it like, damn, this hurts. Like, why does this hurt? I want it to like actually feel good to do, So like I said, I'm glad I got it from you as well because of your background with athletic training, which, for me, I spent 2.5 years or 3 years in the San Francisco City College athletic training room working with the trainer. So,
Mm-hmm.
I knew exactly where you were coming from. And for me, that was kind of the best fit for how to understand and look at animal flow. Like, I think if it had been anyone else, they might not have married it to my you know,
Right. Yeah, yeah.
brain or the way
Right,
the way
right.
I
And
needed to
that's the
think
thing,
about it.
man. Sometimes it's not, and even being a teacher, like, I've been teaching at college for 6 years. And one of the things is it's not just the information, it's how the information is delivered. And I feel like what a lot of times with certifications and stuff, people get so lost in their content that their delivery is completely off and they don't deliver to the audience in front of them. They just ramble off a bunch of facts and things on paper. And one of the things I realized with Animal Flow and what I loved about it was that Mike was very much like, no, be yourself. I'm not going to give you a script. I'm going to give you points you need to hit, but how you hit those points is totally up to you. And I think that when we're allowed to that freedom, or that we're allowed to just be ourselves when we're up there, we get that autonomy to just say it the way we want to say it, as long as the information is delivered. It comes as authentic to the people in the audience. So when I speak, it's very much my story, my truth. It's not just rambling facts from a piece of paper. And I think that's what you resonate with, and most of the people who take it when I teach, and the other people, because every other master instructor you would have taken it, you've been like, yo, the way you said it was dope. Like, I really appreciate that. I just came from injury
Right.
perspective because that's my background. But if you would have heard Rich,
Right.
if you would have heard Kathy, heard anyone else, you still would have been like, wow, that stuff is really like dope. Or you would have someone like Cliff, and everyone's super intelligent. When you go to these master instructor retreats, man, I feel like I don't belong there sometimes. When those people are really like, they're the truth, man. Like, it's a serious squad. And I'm not just saying that because obviously I'm biased, right? Because I'm part of it.
Right.
But in all honesty, man, like when we sit back and we listen to everybody, because the people are picked based on their intelligence, not just their influence in the industry. And I've noticed other
Right.
companies just pick a big name and go, oh, be one of our instructors so they can get more people. Where with the Animal Flow
Right.
community is very much like, this person loves this product and they're intelligent, we'll give them a shot. And you can really tell when we get to these places and everyone's talking, it's like, damn, these people are serious and they love the product. And that's why I train so hard in it, because I'm like, damn, I can't go there and be the only one who can't do a levitation.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's crazy, man. It's
Right.
crazy.
And I got to be able to have the conversation, right? Like, if you're in that room with people, like, the worst feeling in the world is to feel like you're the dumbest person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think feeling like you're the smartest or the dumbest, any extreme, is probably a
Yeah, you
bad
want to
thing.
be
But
the Goldilocks of the room.
right,
Just
you want
right,
to
kind
just
of in
be
the
able to,
middle.
like, just right, right,
Exactly,
right,
exactly.
man. So how? I mean, we see your videos and things you post. How has Animal Flow, kind of been utilized? How do you utilize it within your space and your facility, and how has it kind of influenced your rehab? Like, your rehab has influenced it, but how has it also influenced your rehab work?
It's been Animal Flow to me has been more than just the fitness aspect. It's been an emotional thing. It's been a spiritual thing. It's been a mental thing. Um, I use it mostly with my clients, just as a lot of times as a dynamic warm up. A lot of times to spice things up with them because they get bored with the old school training. And so when people come to me, they already come to me either someone has some kind of issue where they were injured before and they don't want to get injured again, or they just left physical therapy and they want that middle ground between physical therapy and return to play as an athlete. Or they're just looking for something different. Like, people see my content and they're like, I don't know what they're doing there, but it looks cool, so I want to be part of it. So it's multiple different reasons. And in our facility, everyone has their own program, so everything's based off the person. So I do a lot of super regressed versions of Animal Flow stuff. So I'll have someone in static beast on their knees on the ground, 6 points of contact, just doing rotation, just corkscrewing their hands to the ground to work on external rotation of the shoulder, to
Right.
train in like a closed kinetic chain. So we'll do stuff like that. Or I had a client today, actually, he's doing full scorpions into jumping side kick throughs, and he's just going back and forth. So he'll do 6 on one side, 6 on the other side, and then he'll continue on his program and he'll come back to that. And then we also use as finishers. At the end of a workout, we may have people in the circuit. All right, you're going to do 45 seconds of jumping side kick throughs, or 45 seconds of load and unload beast, and someone else is going to be doing kettlebell or whatever. So we plug it in everywhere we can. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just a powerful thing just for the communication of the entire body, from hands to foot to core, just combining everything at once. But as far as for my personal journey, it started off as a physical thing, similar to yourself. Like, I want my shoulders to be able to move better. I want my wrists. Like, I was in a lot of pain after I first took it and started working with it, because I was like, I should be able to crawl on the ground, and everything hurts when I do it. But it looks really cool when you see Mike do it. It looks so effortless, and it looks beautiful. It looks like a dancing art form. So one of the things with me, when I started realizing, as I started to dive more into it, and this is from a book, The Talent Code. It talks about like the myelin sheath going through the motor neurons to increase the firing, so everything looks a lot smoother. It talks a lot about that in Talent Code. But what I started realizing when I was doing it, it wasn't just that my body was starting to feel and move better. It was that my creativity started to expand. And then what I started to learn was that the more you move, it's like brain candy, and you're the part of the brain that does cognitive function and emotion also does movement. That's the cerebellum. So as I started to move more, I noticed that I became more creative, and I was like, I got more ideas, and my emotions were a little more balanced. And I'm like, wait a second, something's here, because I felt like from lifting, and not to knock, old school benching and all that good stuff. It's still good things, but I felt like my body was stuck. And not only was I stuck physically, I was stuck mentally and emotionally too. So when I started to open myself up to these movements and that mind body connection, it was like, wow, like it's not just that I'm looking a little bit different. It's also that I'm moving better, and I'm just starting to think a lot clearer. So all that stuff came together, and that's when I really started to like, all right, there's something more here that most people don't talk about in fitness. And I wanted to discover what that was. So I went down the rabbit hole, and then it went to FRC, to stick mobility, to all these different things, all these different avenues. And now you see more of that now in fitness. But we're talking back again, 2010, 2011, we were doing this stuff. And now it's like people are looking at like, I want to do that. And I'm like, cool, go back 6 years, start the practice, and then come talk to me about doing exactly what we're doing now. You know what I mean? So, but that was like the journey with it, man. And it's helped so much.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned FRC, and that, I'm a latecomer to the actual, FRC material. But I mean, it really kind of changed my whole, perspective on, how I view movement, fitness, the tools I use, what I'm doing. Like, it helped me reframe kind of how I'm visualizing things. And so it's kind of really, I think it's helped me a lot just in the short period of time that I've, been involved with it. And then not only that, the community is pretty cool. It seems to be, there's a lot of movers in the FRC community, which is cool as well.
Yeah, that's a whole other can of worms to dive into that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that, it touches upon so many things, but, a lot of people, that's another certification or idea that's looked at in the wrong light. People see it and they go, I'm not going to sit there and roll my arm around and roll my wrist around. That looks ridiculous. But when you don't understand the science and the information behind it, that our bodies aren't just isolated things, that there's no origin insertion. It's just a bunch of movement. Your body's just this thing that's an ecosystem, and it all communicates. It's not just one thing. So a bicep curl, one rep, no two reps are ever exactly the same, as much as people want to think that. And when we start understanding that with movement and we start throwing variety into it, and it's kind of funny to me, like my background, I didn't tell this earlier, I don't tell this all the time, but I also used to take salsa lessons for a long time and taught salsa all throughout college and everything. And it's like we're getting back to that dance, that freestyle form of movement where you just go and you listen to your body, you listen to how you feel, and then you just move in that way and see what comes up. And most times it's going to be something dope, Sometimes it's terrible.
Yeah.
Some days it's great, man.
So I'm assuming since you're on the East Coast, you dance on two.
Yes, we do dance on too. I took lessons with Eddie Torres in the city, so it's on too.
Oh man, okay.
I can dance on one though. I can dance on one. I can break it down to family, old school, side to side. But when it comes to the baby powder on the floor and moving, it's on too.
Now is Henry Knowles is out there, right? Or DJ Henry Knowles?
I think so. Yeah.
DJ out there.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't been in the community in a long time. I kind of stepped away for a while, but I might be coming back. I don't know yet. We'll see.
Come back. I actually need to come back too, because I used to, like, that's one thing we share in common for years. When I lived in Thailand, I was just looking for something, to enjoy myself at night without having to, you know, be involved with alcohol
Right.
or other things, and stay out of trouble. And there's a thriving salsa community in Bangkok, and
Nice.
so, you know,
Should take a
it
trip,
went
man.
from it's crazy. It went from actually one of the ladies that really kind of grew that scene out there. She went to school in New York,
Oh, wow.
so she you know, kind of is one of the pioneers for salsa out there
That's dope.
in Bangkok. And I mean, it started from me just, you know, having a drink and a lesson to like full on, let me get lessons like
Yeah,
all the time.
absolutely.
And before I knew it, I was going to the salsa events, big,
That's
you
it.
know, international events.
But
It
I
was
mean,
fun
the
times.
beauty of it is the parallels are so similar, because what I always tell people is that you can tell a lot about somebody, about their character, about their spirit, about their aura by the way they move on the dance floor. So you can tell just by
Yes.
the way a certain person dances, like, oh, that I can tell by the way you're moving, something's bothering you that day, or something's wrong,
Right.
or by the way a guy and a girl, when you interact together, the way a guy leads a girl. Is he a strong
Right.
leader? Is he kind of weak? Is he too rough? Is he an aggressive type of
Right.
person? So you can tell a lot
Right.
about someone's personality just by the way they dance. Similar to when you take someone to come to your gym and they're moving for the first time, real movement, not just lifting, but you get them moving, you can tell so much about them, and you get to know your
Yeah.
clientele actually a lot better when they move more, if you're in tune with it and you can pick those things up. If you're just
Right.
sending them through a program and saying, just do this, I wrote it down, better do it, that's not the same thing as when you can kind of take something on the fly and then, like, all right, let's mold this to what's going to actually help this person and speak to them on a deeper level than just, I want my arms to look good, you know?
Right. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like I I watched the way people moved on the dance floor, and I'm like, yeah, that guy's kind of like this, and I think,
And you're
or
always
that,
right.
or yeah, and you dance with a variety of women, and you find out a lot about like how they interact with you. But the feedback I always got, because I used to be, you know, bigger and stockier, you know, than I am now, is people would say, "Oh, I expected you to be more rough, but you were
Right.
so gentle as a leader." And I was like, "Well, I mean, that's who I am. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's."
Yeah.
And so that's when I started thinking about that sort of thing. And it's interesting you say that as well, because one of the things I remember you showing me in our break time was kind of playing with the stick
Yeah.
and having us kind of avoid it. And you know, you look at how people respond to that sort of action,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of see like what barriers they put up or what kind of things they say to their body. They say, no, I can't do that, or I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't do that, or can I do that? They're asking for permission,
Right.
you know, to do certain things. And so that's really, you know,
Yeah.
interesting thing about movement.
No, I'm glad you brought that up, and shout out to Larry. Said movement is magic, man. Larry's a good mover himself, but that whole thing as I said when we did it, was taken from watching Ido Portal and some of his stuff, and then so
Mm-hmm.
what we did was we took the stick and started creating our own games, and when I started doing the research, what I found is that it's almost, you have to get out of yourself and put that focus into something else to then find yourself, and like you were saying, like, so when someone's trying to dodge the stick and you're moving around, they're so focused on the stick that they lose sight of themselves. So they start losing that break that they have. That I can't move in this direction, and then all of a sudden the stick comes. They go, oh snap, because they're so afraid of getting hit. Then they
Right.
actually move, right, and then they dodge the stick, and then like, wow, I never moved my back that way ever. But they were so focused on something else that they were able to release that tension or whatever it was within them. And that same weekend, actually, there was a dude there who's a boxer, and I was doing the stick with him. It was funny because he never wanted to put his hands on the ground, and he never, like,
Right.
everything he was doing was his boxing moves, but he never like wanted to touch the floor. And it makes sense in boxing. Like, I never want to touch the floor as a boxer, but he's been doing it for so many years that he just naturally, that was the way he moved. And it was interesting because like you said, you could tell a lot by the way someone moves, and he just did not want to touch the ground at all. He didn't have permission to do it. Then once I'm like, yo, the one of the rules of the games of one of our games is you can hands on the ground. So I got him on all fours, and he always had to bring his hand back to the ground. You see how uncomfortable he was. As shredded as he is, as great as a mover as he was super uncomfortable with his hands on the ground. And I was like, that's someone who needs to probably train that way a little bit more. You know, we never want
Right.
to do what we're uncomfortable with. We always want to be living this life where we're excellent at everything. And,
Right.
you know, we believe with the Animal Flow program, you should always do things you suck at and suck at more
Right.
things and keep learning more things. And eventually you'll be good at something.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to like kind of frame it and look at it for sure. Um, I want to just kind of switch gears a little bit and just I would like to know, obviously, Chris Flo, what is your actually that's the perfect name for Animal Flow. I mean that just works. But if you could just give people kind of a background of your, you know, ethnicity, where your folks are from,
Yeah.
what your
Well,
makeup is.
the real last name's Flores, the actual last name. But both my parents are from Puerto Rico. So my
Okay.
grandmother was adopted, but she's from the island, so she's very light skinned, and my mom has like blue eyes. And my dad's from like a campo, from like the countryside type area. And so they were actually, ironically, my dad was born there but raised in the Bronx because he had terrible asthma as a kid. And my mom was born here but raised in Puerto Rico, in the hood in Puerto Rico and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so that's my background as far as. And then when I was born in the South Bronx, I lived in the Bronx till I was about 13, and then I moved to
Mm-hmm.
New Jersey, in Freehold, New Jersey, which is funny because coming from the Bronx, you're like, it's one of those things where like you don't see any white people. Like
Right.
we had one crazy white boy when I was young named Rocco, who was wild, and he was the only one. Like
Rocco.
his name's Rocco, like just
That's
his
the perfect
name.
New York name.
That was the
Like,
perfect name,
like
man. The kid was nuts, and his dad was like 6'5", big white dude, big beard and everything. And that was Rocco, and he was the only white kid I really knew growing up. And then I came to Freehold, and it was like straight up culture shock, man. It was like, wow, there's no Latin kids, no black kids in this area. It was nuts.
right.
But it was a gift for me, man, because I got to see both sides of the track. Like I got to see in the hood, like projects and how people live. And I got to see how kids live who actually have financial means and upper middle class. And just to be able to see both sides of that track was like, it was a whole education in and of itself, like a social experiment for me. But it
Yeah.
molded me to this day, so I can kind of play in both arenas now if I need to.
Right. I think it was Dave. Did you see Dave Chappelle's recent
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he was like a spoiler alert for everybody, where he was like you know, he was in the suburbs
yeah.
and he had to experience life as the poorest person in the suburbs.
hmm
Like at least being in the hood, he
Everyone's
could have
poor.
been like
Yeah,
everybody's poor.
yeah. He was talking about Nas and stuff. Yeah, I mean Chappelle's
Right.
a genius in and of itself. But I
Yeah.
kind of think I know where you're going with that question, though, man. Because I know you emailed me about ever experiencing any kind of hardship or stuff in the industry.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, yeah. What just the challenges? Yeah. What were like some of the challenges you faced? You know, not just growing up, but like, you know, maybe even through education, but into, you know, breaking into the industry and trying to, you know, create your own space.
Yeah. In all honesty, I think the biggest challenge was just being myself throughout the industry. And by that, I mean, like, as Puerto Rican people, Latin people, we're a little bit louder than other people, you know, like just our swagger and the way we present ourselves. Like, I'm going to fitness parties, rocking a fedora and dancing and stuff. And that's not really the norm of the higher ups in the fitness community. Like, they're very
Hmm.
proper and very, like, science-based guys. And to be honest, some, for the most part, giant nerds. And not to knock that that's a bad thing. It's a great thing that they're intelligent. But sometimes the swagger you present yourself with gets looked at as like, oh, you think everything's a joke, you think everything's funny, like you're not taking this seriously. And it's like, no, man, this is me. Like, I like to have a good time. I'm gonna go home and read the books and do the research and learn the content, but I'm gonna do it my way. And when I present myself in front of an audience, I'm gonna have a good time. Because
Right.
what's often lacked in watching presenters is it's so much content driven and there's nothing for the people to enjoy. So what I try to do is marry the entertainment of it with the content. So it
Hmm.
might be 5 serious points and then tell a joke, or a couple serious points and then tell a story. And anytime you get in front of the audience, kind of take them on the journey. And I did experience a couple of times just stuff like people, you know, one particular story, and I'm not going to say the names. I was at this particular party, and it was like mostly presenters, like top level guys in the industry, like the big names. And I was at this party, and we're at a dinner table, and we're all talking, and the one dude sitting at the table, like giggling to some girl he was talking to, like grown man, not like children. Like you're like 40 plus years old, and you're giggling every time I talk because I look a little bit different than the rest of them. And like, you don't, no one knows who I am. Like, I technically probably shouldn't be there in their eyes, but I knew people, so I got in. And every time I talk, like, we're all at the table talking, and every time I talk, dudes looking at me and giggling. So it was an interesting thing because where I'm from, like, either A, you got a problem and we're gonna handle this problem, or we can, you know what I'm saying, have a discussion, dude. Like, be a man and be like, yo, who are you? I have no idea who you are. Instead, it's like you're giggling to this female you're with. I don't know if you're trying to look cool, whatever. And then when dude got off the table and went somewhere, she's like, excuse me, like, I just want to know who you guys are, whatever. And like, she actually asked us, and then I told her who I was, and I had brought one of my boys with me. And so it was interesting because she had the guts or whatever, or the respect, I would say, to ask me who I was. Instead, he was acting like a child. And I started to realize as you go how these, just because someone has a certain position doesn't mean they might have earned that position, but it doesn't mean that they're a good character, a good person of morals and values and respect. And I feel like, and this is going to sound horrible, but at a certain point in any industry, people need to be punched in the mouth. Because like when you grow up in a certain neighborhood, if you're going to talk it, you have to back it up. And I've always grown up that way. If I say something, I'm going to back it up because that's why I was raised. Or other people can just say stuff and lie to you, you blatantly lie to your face, and then walk around and never have a care in the world. And I'm like, this is somebody who probably has never been beat up for saying something slick, you know what I mean? Or never had their card pulled. Like, all right, you say you're that guy, let's see who's what, whatever, you know? So it's it's interesting because I think in certain areas you learn that you have to be a man of your word. And if you're not going to back your word up, don't say nothing. And in other areas where you grow up and live, you can say whatever you want to whoever you want and get away with it because mom and dad got money. Everybody's going to bail you out. Cops aren't going to come after you. You can just get away with it. And it's like, wow, man, these people grow up in such a fantasy world that they get their whole careers and have never been exposed. And other people grow up like, you're always fighting, you're always fighting, you're always fighting. And if you make it, you're like, and then someone says something to you after you make it, you're like, yo, you have no idea what I just went through to get to this point. Like, to get in this door, I've been through all this dirt, and here you are going to look at me funny. Like, you know, it took a lot to not like pull out the inner hood in me, but you know, I definitely got through that one.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, I mean, I kind of wrote something to that effect today on my Insta story, you know, just kind of giving some background. I think a lot of times, you know, people think that just because you speak a certain way, just because you carry yourself in a certain way, just because you're educated, all these things, that you didn't have it, you know, hard, or you didn't come from the same places, or you didn't, you know, you must have grown up a certain way. And, you know, my whole thing was like, look, I've had friends, you know, it's nothing to be proud of, and I've had friends that are dead. I have family members that are dead due to gun violence. And, you know, quite frankly, I could have easily been one of those people, you know. Just a simple turn here or a turn there, you know, makes all the difference in who we are and what we experience. I always tell people, like, when I got accepted to UCLA, I felt like every day leading up to it, I felt like Ricky. You know, I was like, okay, where are they at? Okay, I need, you know, like, I just need to get there, you know, because I don't want anything tragic to happen, you know. So that, you know, living a life, you know, I think sometimes people don't realize the amount of fear, you know, that affects, you know, men of color. And I don't think people, you know, really truly understand the struggle to get to where we're at.
No, man, it's a different world.
But also, like, I mean, obviously, you've had an opportunity to be put on, you know, with Animal Flow, and, you know, be put in a position to kind of flourish as well. in that light. But like, how challenging has it been to get into a position where you could be a presenter at places where you know, get called upon to do these things? And because there's not, to be honest, you know, every event, every time I get a flyer from NSCA or any of these organizations,
Yep.
there is zero diversity in the
said
leadership.
You said it, man. Keep it real. First of all, let me say what's up to Quincy and Dominic who checked in, bro. They're both.
What's up, Q?
Yeah, man. That's a legend right there, bro.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. It's interesting having that level to get to the level to present. And one of the things was, I always tell people I have like a hip hop mindset, an old school hip hop, not the stuff these kids have now, but in the sense that if you're going to do A and B, I'm going to do C. And I'm going to make C look better than your A and B, right? Like old school hip hop was like, you're doing that, I'm doing this, and I'm going to make this fresh. This is East Coast rap, that's West Coast, so whatever. So what I started doing was, no one gave me a platform to present. Like I was like, hey, I want to present, and I'm here practicing, and people are like, no, like this person's going to present. They sell more tickets. This person's better, yada, yada, so on and so forth. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to make my own workshops and present in front of whoever shows up. So we started hosting our own workshops. And if you look at my old YouTube, I used to do something called Chalk Talk on YouTube. And I would literally talk to my iPad and present to the iPad. And I was doing presentations and my own motivational speeches and stuff like that. And I was very much inspired by Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. Was one of my first inspirations, because I'm like, yo, this dude's doing it different than Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, and all those people. So when I started listening to him, really got me like, yo, I just need to do it myself. Like, forget what everyone else is saying, forget what they're doing, I'm gonna do it my way. And so I just started presenting, and then I would host these workshops. And then people start seeing that you're presenting, and then it was like, oh, well, that person can deliver content good. And one of the things I've noticed, I even put a post up about a while ago, and a couple people were bashing it, because I'm like, yo, like you said, every conference is the same people talking. Like, there's got to be better presenters out there that may even say the same information, right? It may be even the same content, just delivered in a way that it may connect with me. Because most of what they're saying, like if I heard you speak, I'm more likely to resonate with you, because I'm like, yo, this dude sounds like somewhere where I'm from, sounds like me, versus somebody who sounds like, you know, like one of the funniest presenters I think is hysterical, Tom Myers, who's a mind. He's a brilliant guy. But as a presenter, he's hysterical because it's very dry, and it's just facts. Like, it's just facts coming at you. And if you have no idea what he's talking about, if you haven't read anatomy trains, you haven't studied fascial lines, his presentation style is going to go right over your head, and you're going to be lost. So versus someone like a Doc Perry, who's a good buddy of mine, Perry likes to break it down. He'll take you on this roller coaster where it's like really high level information, and he'll break it down and make it so everyone can understand. And so I just started presenting on my own, and then, you know, people start seeing your content, and they see you're at a conference, and then maybe people will buy tickets. And that's another thing I never realized until I talked to a friend of mine, is that certain names just sell tickets. And it's like, well, if I put this name on the list, people are going to show up because they want to see that name. But at the same token, I feel like a lot of places do a bad job of saying, let me get 2 or 3 of those guys and like 4 or 5 unknowns and give them a shot. But it always comes back to money, though. So I understand where they're coming from, because you give someone a shot who's not ready, and they get up there and they bomb like bad. Like they stumble on the words. They're looking down the whole time. There's a bunch of and like and they just ruin it. So now you're like, I can never do that again, because people paid hundreds of dollars to come here, and you just crap the bed. So I'm never going to do that again. So they're very cautious because they don't want to lose money. So I understand from multiple sides where it comes from. But at the end of the day, it's like, as an organization, any organization, you have to do a good job of finding the best talent, the diverse talent, and seeking them out. Like, there's a ton of people out there on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, presenting and saying things that you may want to, hey, send me a demo tape of a presentation. Like that I would respect. Like, let me see what you got. You know, send me your demo. Let me see you speak in front of an audience, and then I'll decide whether you have a shot or not. But like you said, it's just very minimal of diversity. And I understand that not a lot of us in the industry, but there's more coming. And I believe that for, you know, Hispanic kids, for Black kids, and for just the diverse groups in the industry, it's starting to get bigger and bigger. And I think it's important that we just support each other. Like if I see another Latin dude doing something, be like, yo, share, you know, just put their stuff up there so they can get a platform one day.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that that's key, right? Like we've got to, you know, obviously I'm gonna keep taking it back to Black Panther because that's the
I was
most
just about to
recent
bring
thing
that
out
up.
there.
I was just about to bring that
Because
up.
it's like I always feel, I told somebody today that I feel like, and spoiler alert again, if you haven't seen Black Panther, that's your fault because it's been 2 weeks now. So here's the
Absolutely.
spoiler. You know, at the end when they say, okay, now we're going to share this knowledge with the rest of the world, and the guy has the nerve to be like, with all due respect, what could you possibly, you know, have to share with us? And so that's kind of like what we get as, you know, fitness trainers of color or fitness coaches of color out there. Oftentimes I feel that it's like, well, what could you possibly have to, you know, impart upon us? And then I always go back to things like Hidden Figures and I say, well, a lot, because it's diversity that is what makes this place great. You know, as diversity is what has helped us thrive and helped us move forward. Is that those different inputs that we have in our society, from women, from people of color, from all types of people being allowed to enter the room and talk, you know, like you kept them all the way down a mile away from the place where the action was going on, right? And then when you got them in the room, you're like, man, we can go to the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, there's,
so
I mean,
it's like,
man, there's so much to that point, and it's funny. I have a man group. We meet every once a month, and it's 3 black kids, 2 Spanish, 2 white, and we just try to bring people in from all different backgrounds. And there's so much to that point because on one token, it's like the opportunities aren't there. On the second other side of the spectrum, it's like the opportunities are there, but the people don't support it with their dollars because it comes down to the money. Like if I put out a product and my Latin community doesn't come out and pay for that product to make it built up, then why am I going to who's going to give me another opportunity if they're like, he's not bringing me money? Where if they put John Smith's name on the presentation thing and it floods the room and he steps in the room and there's 2,000 people they're paying, they're like, well, I'm going to bring him again. I'm not going to bring Rich, who 4 people walk into his presentation to listen to him. So it's also on us that when someone does something, we have to support it. And we have to say, all right, well, my people are doing something. Let me make sure I pay. Let me make sure I buy that DVD. Let me make sure I buy that CD. And then make sure I go out and support it so that there's more of it. Because wherever the money goes, like right now, and it sounds crazy, but any person in the movie industry, a black person, I guarantee you, Universal and all those crazy studios are looking for scripts, struggling, looking for another movie now that wants to compete with it because they know the money's there now. Now they know the money's there, you know? So they're gonna be looking for
DC is like,
yeah.
DC is like, do we got a black superhero we can put on?
Exactly.
Like, what?
They're like, can somebody write something? Like, come on, man. But it's gonna happen now because they know the money's there. It's just it really boils down to the money. As much as it is opportunities and everything else, at this point now, there's no excuse why a studio can't say black films don't sell overseas. When you see Black Panther selling out around the world, it's not just U.S., it's around the world, crushing it. Now Universal, whoever, I'm just saying their name because that's the only one I know, but no movie company can, no movie theater can say like, nope, we're not doing it because it won't sell, because you're going to go right to, look what Black Panther did. Look what Black Panther did, you know? So, and I think that's an important point, though. You just got to back it with your dollars and support when it's there.
Right. So, switching gears just a little bit again, that was an important topic we needed to discuss, and I try to make sure that we discuss something, you know, along those lines with all of these talks, because you know, these talks are kind of, you know, in a way designed to, you know, give people more insight to the various things out there as well as the people. But I want to go back to what you have going on, and so I know one of the things that I I follow along with you is not only philosophy, but also a lot of your posts online, which are I think very on point. And I think sometimes, you know, people aren't ready. People aren't ready for some of the stuff you had to say, but it's very important. So just can you tell us a little bit about philosophy and some of the things that you...
One of the things is just being aware, man. I think my dad did a great job. My parents did a great job is teaching me, like, you know, keep your eyes, like, almost like the whole stay woke thing. My parents always been like, just be aware, man. And so between that and the tons of stuff I've read just on psychology and human beings in general, you start reading the mindset of people and start learning all these things. And then you start tying all these things together and being like, oh, snap, that person did that because of this, so on and so forth. And then understanding the business side of things, because one thing that was a little hard for me to deal with early on in the industry was that I was reading these books and I'd see someone put out content and they put their name all over it. I'm like, yo, you took that exactly from this book, like verbatim. And you just put your name on it and then you're putting it out as a product. So, but it also taught me the importance of branding. Like, all right, I'm not going to keep sharing someone's stuff or whatever if they're not supporting me. So let's create something called Flo Fitness Philosophy. These are my thoughts, my ideas. And take information I'm getting from somewhere else and then fuse it to my own thing and then put it out and package it on my own thing. So the whole philosophy thing just became mindset stuff, because I realized that in fitness, we can do as much as we want to a blue in the face. We have all the information on diet stuff. We have all the information on movement. We have all the information on exercise. All the physical stuff we have it all. We have enough to change the world. The problem is people's minds aren't just right. They're not in the right set. They're not where they need to be. Everyone's all over the place and searching for more, searching. And they're looking externally and no one's looking internally. And once we can get people to turn the mirror and look at themselves and they see the source of their problems, really them. And the sooner we can pull that wool in front of someone's eyes and be like, yo, it's been you this whole time. Like, you're holding yourself back. And the reason why you haven't lost the weight is because you see yourself as heavy. You see it as this huge mountain that you can't overcome. You won't take that first step. You know, so instead of moving forward, I think there's a quote that says, not the mountain in front of you, it's the pebble in your shoe, right? And it's because you won't keep taking those steps to get past certain things. And so the whole philosophy thing was just, I want to go around with doing workshops and looking for places to host us and just do a one-day workshop. It's like 6 hours. And what we do is like really just, I don't want to give away how we started off, but basically we do something in the beginning to break down the ego. Like, listen, get rid of all the BS. We're going to strip this and we're going to build something here and we're all going to participate. And it's not going to be me just throwing quotes up and things like that. The whole point of it is everyone has to write stuff down and really expose themselves. And then you see the truth. And when it's written down in front of you, that's when it really hits you. Like, damn, like I've really been in my own way this whole time. And then you get to work with partners. We do a ton of partner stuff because it takes a village, man. And sometimes there's a good saying that says you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. And a lot of people, that's what they're lost in. They have no one else from the outside saying like, yo, you messed up. Everyone's just, yeah, you're great. You're awesome. Keep patting each other on the back, but no one's really looking at you and saying, yo, the reason why you're not successful is because of this. But that's what the whole philosophy thing came about. And then sharing that information on Instagram, because like someone like yourself, you listen to it, you see it, and it helps you. And I've gotten tons of inboxes and people like, yo, what you said today really got me through something. So anytime something comes to me while I'm driving or whatever, I feel like compelled to share it because it's speaking to someone else, I think. I don't know if it is, but, I feel like it is. So I'm just going to share it and put it out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, I think needed. I mean, I think all inspiration, that has a positive effect is going to have a positive effect on somebody, right? All things that come to you and kind of resonate with you is not just coming into your soul for no reason at all. It's if you keep it to yourself, you're not doing anybody else any good.
I have a theory on ideas. I always share this and people think I'm crazy, but I always see it as like that thought is like a stream, like a river. Like there's some global consciousness up here and an idea comes to you, and if you spew it out and give it to the people, then there's more room for more to come. But if you're holding on and
Right.
hoarding it, ideas stop coming, because it's like, well, now you're stopping the flow of this traffic. So
Right.
if you spew it out as it comes in, and believe in abundance, like there's so much more for everybody else, and keep giving. Like I've gotten friends like, dude, stop giving stuff away for free online. I'm like, there's so much more where that came from. I don't need to hold on to it. Like it's already
Right.
gone. Like I tell some of the young kids in fitness, I mean, I've forgotten more than you're probably ever going to learn, because I've been in the game so long, and because as more comes, I keep just letting it go. I don't want to hold on to it. And I
Right.
think that you become, at that point, you become a catalyst, or you become some kind of beacon for information, and you just keep throwing out content, versus someone who says, all right, here's one little snippet I'm going to give you, and now pay $5,000 for the rest. And I'm not knocking people's marketing or their business.
Right.
That's great if it's helping you, but then don't complain in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years when the industry's passed you by, and you're like, but I was doing that first, and it's all about you, because you've always made it
Right.
about you. And that's why you're not going to succeed in the long run. You may have short-term success, and I'm sure you've seen people come in, say it's their content, be really successful, and then disappear, versus those who have longevity are the ones who can constantly share, and learn. And I think that's the key to success in any industry.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So other than philosophy, what other projects you got going on right now?
The other big one's the Flow Vault. As I just said, I give away stuff for free. I've been doing it for years. So what I did was, one of the things I have people tell me is like, oh, your Instagram, I saw this one exercise. Do you remember it? And in all honesty, to be brutal, sometimes I completely forget, because I'll come up with something that day because of a certain situation. I'll post it and I'll completely forget I ever put that workout or exercise together, or that I even
Right.
posted about it. So we created something called the Flow Vault, which is just a vault of our ideas of exercises. So we have different categories, like category for stick stuff, category for band work, animal flow stuff for the blocks, all kinds of stuff. And we just
Mm-hmm.
plug it into this vault, and it's just information, it's just content. Like, hey, I need a hip exercise using a stick. You can go there, look at our stick, whatever, and look up hip, and then boom, right there, exercises. 10 or 15 things might pop up. And we've been doing that for $3 a month. So people come members of the vault. You have access to all of it for $3 a month. And I've had so many people say, dude, $3, that's nothing. You should charge so much more. But my thing is, like, first and foremost, if $3 hits your credit card a month, you're probably not going to cry about it. You'd be like, all right, that's cool.
Right.
Like, there's no big a deal. So the
Yeah.
hope is that more and more people buy in. The second thing is, I don't think people realize the power of the internet, and that $3 may be nothing to you in this country, but you go somewhere else and $3 may be like 10, 15 bucks a
Right.
month to that person. And if I really
Right.
want to reach the masses and help more people, I can't be pricing people out of it. Like, then I'm stopping the content for somebody who actually probably needs it. Because if you can afford
Right.
$40 a month, you're not starving. You don't need my content, you know?
Right.
But for $3 a month, I can help that trainer who was me 15 years ago, who was barely paying their rent, barely eating
Right.
peanut butter and jelly every day. I can feed that trainer some content to help them get to that next level, versus pricing myself so high that I'm only helping people who can afford it. So we
Yeah.
kept it low for a large number of reasons. And we're just like, I'm not giving you programming. I'm not telling you how to use it. I'm just saying, boom, here's a bunch of ideas, and use it however you like.
Right. So kind of like an exercise library.
That's all it is. It's one giant, and it helps with my clients. If they go on vacation, here's your exercises. It's in the vault. Go check them out. Or if I have somebody in another country who wants to work with me, I can be like, yo, here's the stuff I saw in your assessment. Now here's your workouts. Now go use them. You know what I mean? So it
Right.
makes it easier to do stuff, and for my staff, because we'll write stuff up, and people like, I don't know what this is, and they can go in the vault. My staff can go look and then have the information there in front of them. So it's got a large number of reasons, and it helps out a lot.
Yeah. That's pretty dope. So last question. How would you like to see the industry change or grow? Or what would you like to see change in the industry? Like the biggest thing you think?
It's crazy, because I think it's one of those things. Like, I love that the old quote from Batman says, "Die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become the villain." And I see myself becoming like grumpy at some of the stuff, like, oh, I can't believe this
Get off
person
my
is
lawn.
Yeah, you become that guy at some point. And with the industry, it's
Yes.
like, I've been in like 20 years, and now I look at these kids flying past me, as far as like because they had great marketing, or they're really tech savvy and they know how to do this. And it's like, damn, like this kid, like him, really, you guys are buying into that, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of people on the couch looking at me like that idiot you're buying, you know. So I think I would like to see the cream rise to the top. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of times it doesn't in certain industries because of financial reasons or other things. So that's one thing. And I think that a lot of the quick fixes, 5-minute abs, or all that, the crap that's bombarded into the fitness industry, I would like to see it disappear, but it is what it is. It sells, it makes money, it's a quick fix, and people love it. People love all right, I'm gonna get abs in 6 weeks. Like, no, you're 300 pounds overweight. You're not gonna get abs in 6 weeks. You can buy that program if you want, but it's not gonna help you. So what I would like to see is that stuff go away, but I know it's not gonna happen. I would like to see just more, as we talked about earlier, more diversity at the top levels. I'd like to see more doors open up where people up there go, you know what, these people got something to say. And not that we want handouts, but still I would like to see more opportunities. Like, you know, these people are good, let's give them the platform. But I also feel like it's only a natural progression of things, that if people like yourself, like me, we stay in the industry long enough, we start to rise up. And we can never forget where we came from. And now we go back and mentor some young trainer looking to get a shot, and hold them under our wing and say, yo, come this way, here's the path. And I think that it's naturally going to change. So I can't say I want something to happen today. I think it's a natural order of things, and we have to just trust the process. And eventually we'll get to the point where we will be the next gurus or whatever. And the word guru, I used to not like it until I read this book, Aspire, and it said guru means someone takes someone from the darkness to the light. And then if that's the true meaning, I would love to be a guru for other people, to be like, yo, I know you've been in this level, but I want to take you to here, to the light, to really help your career explode and move forward. And I always believe that all ships rise with the tide. So as I go up and I bring other people with me, and they go up, they'll bring me with them. And it will just be this, you know, reciprocity of whatever we doing, we help each other get to the next level. So I don't think much should change. I think it's going to be, the industry is what it is. As long as people keep being aware and help each other out, I think we'll succeed.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That was excellent thoughts. I really like that way of looking at it. Definitely, you know, I definitely find myself in that same, you know, kind of position of, like, at times being that grumpy guy. So
we all do, man. Definitely.
But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the next generation, there's a lot of great people there. I think there's a bunch of people chiming in. Mike Ramos, I'm not sure if you've met. He's out there on the East Coast.
Oh, man.
But he's out there on the East Coast with you. He's in New York. But no, I really think that, you know, at this point in my career as well, you know, I'm looking to help the younger generation, because I'm not going to be doing this forever,
right?
You know, and I know where I was at 22, 23 through 30, you know, and, you know, now being 40, looking back, I'm like, God, I wish I had known what I know now. But now that I'm here, I can't just say that. I got to say, all right, if I meet some younger, you know, cats that really kind of, you know, look to me, then I should share with them. You know, I should help them find the path that they're looking for, you know. So not give them the path, not show them the path, but help them find the path. And that's the teacher's job, I think, is to help them find their own path.
One of the things I do is talk on leadership. And one of the things I always like to end with is that the sign of a great leader is someone who makes himself increasingly unnecessary, which means they help the youth or whoever behind them so much that person no longer needs them. And I think that, like you said, help them find the path. That here's the way to go, and then get them to that point where I can no longer take you any further. Like, you've gotten as far as I can help you go. Now the torch is in your hands to take it to that next level. And I think in a roundabout way, the people that came before us gave us those opportunities to be able to present and have certifications and have workshops. And now it's up to us to take it to the next level. Doing stuff like you're doing now, this is huge, because now a kid can now watch this and may never see me in their life, may never know me, or may never know you, but they can watch this episode and be like, wow, those guys helped me in a certain way. Now I'm going to go and do that. And it's the whole like pay it forward type thing, man.
Right.
But yeah, I think the one thing I do caution, and I know it's happened to me and it's probably going to happen to you, is that sometimes we feel like, oh, these kids have a sense of entitlement. Oh, they don't know what it's like to go through it. And one thing I learned, my old boss told me, and she was like, she's a female as an athletic director in a high school, like everything, all the odds have been stacked against her, and she made it to a certain point. And now she's looking back at these other people, and she's like, man, they have no idea what it took to get here. But isn't that the point? Like, isn't that the point of us going through it so we can shield the rest so they don't have to go through it? So for them, they should look at a pamphlet. They should be sitting here looking at a thing being like, oh, there's a black dude, Spanish dude, black dude, Spanish dude presenting. Oh, that's normal. They should feel that's normal. They shouldn't feel like, wow, one of us is speaking. Like a movie like Black Panther shouldn't be a big deal. It should be a normal box office hit. The fact that it's such a big deal means that people have been oppressed for way too long. So I feel like we should be shielding them from it. They should have a sense of entitlement because black or Spanish kids should walk into a conference and be like, yo, I'm here. Like, I'm here to present, you know, and it shouldn't be a big deal, though. So I think that, yeah, we just got to be careful not to be too grumpy.
Right.
You know?
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a great call, great chat.
Sure.
A lot of gems dropped. I'm sure a lot of people are going to benefit tremendously.
Let's hope.
From your words and from this conversation. So it was great, again, to catch up with you as well, because it's been a long time since we actually, caught up. And hopefully this April, when I'm out there, we can connect.
Test you out,
because I'll be in New Jersey. So test me out. I got to pull out the book again and actually get my, facts straight.
Mm-hmm. You got it, bro. You got it.
I've just been moving. Like, I haven't actually been, doing much besides just the moving. So, yeah, we'll get that sorted out. And
yes, sir. And
times.
Listen, man, thank you for your content you put up. Thank you for everything you do, and thank you for this opportunity. And keep doing the show, man. I think it's gonna be a big springboard for a lot of people, and you're definitely helping a lot with this. So continue forward, brother.
Thanks, I appreciate it. All right, you have a good night.
You too, sir. I'll talk to you later, man.
Talk to you later.